Hey guys, Jim Edwards here along with
Stu Smith.
And welcome back to the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. This is episode 32. Hey Stu, I'm with you at 32. We're always coming up with rhymes to reflect the times. So today we are continuing our journey with the hero's journey. And we have a cool walkthrough for you guys of something that I've wanted to do for a long time inside of the Jim Edwards Method Premium, Easy Online Wizards, to make an actual wizard to help create hero's journey story scripts and do it in such a way that you could do it for a story that would take 2 minutes to tell or 30 minutes to tell, depending on how much time you had.
Oh,
and
cool.
So this is a true beta as far as a wizard goes. But I want to remind everybody just real quick, we're going to do a 30-second recap. I think it was episode 5 that we did a big thing about the hero's journey.
Yes.
But just as a reminder for everybody, basically the way the hero's journey goes, your character pretty much is right here and things are okay, not too high, not too low, just kind of heading along. And then they come to a point of decision. They make the decision and all of a sudden things start kind of going to crap. And then you have a real dip where they really go to crap. And then here there's a revelation where then they start climbing their way out and then they grow, and then there's an ascension to the next level where our hero with the cape is totally transformed and they're never the same again. And so if you think about, we'll use the example of just Star Wars real quick. Luke is at the farm, not too high, not too low, wants to go to the academy or whatever. Luke Skywalker wanted to go to an academy too, Stu.
That's right.
Then he meets Obi-Wan Kenobi and he makes a decision. I'm going to learn to use the Force. And then his aunt and uncle end up dead. And he goes on all this journey, meets all these people. And then he ends up on the Death Star and he sees Obi-Wan. I mean, Obi-Wan is freaking dead. Man.
He's in a trash compactor.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, with the smelly wet Wookiee. But the bottom of it is he sees Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead. So then he joins the rebellion for real, learns to be an X-Wing pilot, and he goes on the journey. And then here, where he is transformed, is when Obi-Wan reappears and he says, Luke, use the Force. And he turns off his thing and he uses the Force to launch the proton torpedoes and the Death Star blows up. And then Luke is on his way to becoming a true Jedi Knight. Okay. Does that pretty much, I mean, that's the hero's journey. I mean, that's just the first freaking movie, man. I mean,
that's good.
But that's
good little journey.
That's the typical hero's journey. If you look at any really good story that resonates with stuff, Harry Potter follows this journey. Lord of the Rings, Frodo follows this journey. Any great story follows this journey. And the funny thing is that this is so hardwired into us, both the telling of it and the living of it, that you see most really good business stories follow this as well. Any story, you want to hit all the good buttons. There's one thing in here that's not in the wizard because it's not always here, but one of the things that one of the underlying sub-themes that you will see is there's also the best friend disappears around this time and then reappears about this time. You think about Obi-Wan Kenobi. You think about Harry Potter in the last book. Harry and Ron separate ways, and then Ron joins Harry at the end. There's always a friend, a best friend, a mentor, somebody who disappears for some reason. Some resource disappears here at the bottom, and they have to make this journey on their own until they not always, but that's a subcontext in there. And I don't know if that's too much information, but I geek out on this stuff. If
That's good.
I hadn't been drunk the whole month of March, my senior year in college, I could have had a minor in comparative literature. So, I mean, I come by this stuff honestly.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
But I digress. So what I want to show you guys now, and we're actually going to use Mr. Stu Smith. We're going to go through and use this wizard for the very first time. And the thing is, one last thing I want to say here is that you can use these hero's journey stories for anything. I mean, you can use them for Facebook Lives. You can use them in your sales letters. You can use them in webinars. They can actually be an entire webinar if you do it right. They're parts of it's you can use them anywhere for any purpose whatsoever, because it's the ultimate content to get people oriented in whatever manner you want, as you'll see. So what I want to do is, because I'm fascinated by this story, is we're going to tell the story of Stu's journey from a 18-year-old high school student all the way to where he is now, with teaching guys and gals how to go into military, law enforcement, special forces, firefighter stuff. So I want to start with when you decided that you wanted to go, and the decision of when you wanted to go to the Naval Academy, and then when you failed your first PT test, and kind of what happened from there. Okay.
Sure.
So who or what were you at the start of the story?
Just a high school kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your situation at the time? So, and we're always thinking in bullets. We're not actually writing the story out. We're creating bullets that we would then tell the story from. So what was your situation at the time?
I was a hard worker, athlete, student.
Okay.
That was it. That's all I did.
Okay.
Went to school and played sports.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And you were from a small town?
Yes, very small town. One high school in the whole county.
All right. Okay, so then there was a change. There was an event, there was a decision, there was a choice made. So what happened that started to change everything?
Well, I was recruited by Navy and Army for football. So they kind of got on my map that way. But then Top Gun also came out. So that was a cool movie that made me say, there were some Academy references in there.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my goal, to go be a fighter pilot.
Okay.
Just like Maverick.
Didn't you say you also didn't want to saddle your parents with paying for college?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to do some way, to get through college, pay for it myself.
Okay. Okay. So you decided to, okay, so I'm just kind of thinking through here.
So I got in. So where are we now? I got into the academy. That was
okay.
That was good.
Okay. So what problem or conflict arose almost immediately?
Well, I thought I was in good shape until I showed up at the Naval Academy. And I failed my first fitness test.
Okay. How did things go from bad to worse?
Well, on top of failing fitness tests, I was also failing chemistry.
Ooh, I never heard that part of the story yet.
Yeah, well, there's more. It was a bad year.
Freshman year sucked. Okay, so on top of failing fitness tests, I was also failing chemistry. Anything else bad?
Just, you're 18 years old, you're homesick, your girlfriend dumps you. I mean, it was just a perfect storm of misery.
Okay. This all happened because, so what caused the situation? This happened because why?
Well, I wasn't prepared.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared physically. I wasn't prepared academically. I did everything to get to the Naval Academy. I never once considered, how do I get through the Naval Academy?
Okay.
So it was back to my to and through thing that I teach.
That's real similar to my college
Yeah.
thing. I was a stud getting to college, and then when I got to college, I blew up.
Oh man, it was very humbling.
So how did you feel at this point?
Well, humbled.
Okay.
Right. And at this point, I'd say it was probably Thanksgiving. And my mom.
Are you telling? Is this going to be the rock bottom story? Rock bottom? Because if mom is gonna, if you're gonna
yes, this would be the rock bottom. Mom,
okay, bottom is gonna be and the mom's gonna help you have the revelation.
Okay, gotcha.
I felt humbled. Were you scared that you were gonna get kicked out?
Oh yeah, everything was like I didn't belong there. All the insecurities that come with all of that. So all the insecurities that come with failing everything.
That's funny. Okay, so I knew I was at rock bottom when. Okay, so now we're hitting rock bottom. Didn't you have to do like extra duty and stuff like clearing snow? Didn't you say?
Oh yeah, so that was the pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back when I had I had failing grades, failing physical scores, and I got in trouble for underage drinking. So then I was on restriction. So, my college first 6 months did not go well.
Oh
did
my
not go well at all. This was quite miserable. I just wasn't. I just kind of lost hope and wasn't taking things seriously.
So
at that point.
Okay. And then what did that mean when you hit that rock bottom though? What did it mean to your family, your business, your spirit, your finances? Hitting rock bottom meant, you had extra duty, you had
the extra 12 hours of liberty that you got as a freshman was now spent marching around in a big circle or shoveling snow when it snowed.
That sucks.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, so the revelation, what discovery did you make? Revelation did you have? Decision did you make to start turning things around? Is that when your mom fussed at you? Or had a talk with you?
My mom snapped me out of it later, but what I really learned at first was I learned how to take fitness tests. I didn't really know how to take a fitness test. I just went all out and just kill myself, and, learned how to take them, but I also learned how to train. And we did that. We just had some good mentors that, took me on as a leadership challenge. If they could straighten me out, they were, they were going to,
Okay.
have a special place in heaven.
So you learn. My mom always says that you'll get crowns you'll get jewels in your crown in heaven. I said, my buddy Dexter says, yeah, I don't care. I'm just gonna, if I end up butt naked in streets of gold, at least I'm in heaven. I'm not worried about anything else.
Mm.
Okay. So, and then you decide what I decided to, what did,
well, I decided that, I did need a fitness outlet for some stress relief, which helped.
okay.
And that helped me kind of refocus on my studies. There was a study skills program. I learned how to study, better. So I started doing the right steps.
Okay.
Not seeing much progress yet, but I was on the right mindset, But where it really came in is I came home for Thanksgiving and completely kind of crushed. Not what I expected when I came back home, to be telling everybody how I'm doing. And I remember just crying and just telling my mom, I just like, it's awful. And I miss you guys so much. And I think she really was glad to hear that I missed her, because what she saw me doing was just hanging out with my friends when I came home. But
Doing some more underage drinking.
Right, more underage drinking. So, and she said to me, well, why don't you just come home? And I said, Mom, I can't quit. I can't quit. Then she goes, well, quit crying.
Okay.
And that was like, all right, I'm on it. And it just had my efforts had a little more focus after that.
Okay. So at that point, I mean, how did you feel at that point? So I felt focused and driven.
Yes.
That point.
Okay. Focused and driven.
Okay. So now we're into the transformation. So you're coming back from Thanksgiving and stuff. So did you have to stay there over Christmas, or did you go back for like?
I went home over Christmas too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened next? This is now the transformation, then the return, then the ascension. So this is, Stu's coming back, and his mama told him to stop being a little biatch.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was a good last half of the semester. My grades started getting up. I actually didn't fail anything. And I actually maxed the next PT test. So I went from failing a PT test, and then I maxed it in that same month, but prior to Christmas.
Okay. Okay. So now, I'm not sure. Let's think about this real quick. So now the return, the ascension, this is where we might depart a little bit, because it's almost like we want to fast forward. We want to fast forward 4 years.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm just going to put in fast forward 4 years, graduated.
I finished that year. I actually finished the #1 plebe in my company.
Whoa.
Not academically, but just military bearing and all that stuff.
I bet that shocked the chief that was making you shovel snow.
Yeah. So like I said, I came back and figured it out. And militarily, I was good. Academically, I still struggled, but I passed. And then physically, I crushed. So
Okay.
I knew my strengths and weaknesses there. So I knew I could play the physical game. I could play the military bearing game. And I just had to focus on my weakness, which was the academics. So I had it controlled now.
Okay.
That was the big going into the next 4 years.
Okay. Let's save this just so we don't. Where is it? Can't spell, but that's okay. Weird. I gotta check on that. Okay. So we fast forward, graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy, graduated buds, and then spent 4 years in UDT. Was it all 4 years in the same one, or did you have a couple different platoons?
No, I was at well, it was like an extended tour at SDVs.
SDV.
So,
okay,
yeah,
SDV.
driving mini subs.
Okay. So then you then had the opportunity to go to return.
Yep, to the academy as an instructor.
Okay. So now this is where we're talking about you transitioning over to what you're doing now. So
yes.
by going to the academy as an instructor, how did that change you and open your mind to new possibilities and stuff? What?
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I didn't miss the SEAL teams. I enjoyed coaching.
Okay.
I really found I enjoyed both ends of the spectrum of coaching. I enjoyed teaching kids that didn't know how to swim or didn't know how to pass a fitness test, how to do that. I enjoyed the very advanced elements of training, working with the kids that all wanted to go special ops. So I considered myself kind of the, beginners and advanced coach to these young midshipmen that were either doing very well or doing very poorly. Many were much like myself.
Ooh, I saw myself in them.
Yeah.
That's funny that I feel the same way, like with the online business and the writing and all that stuff. I see people that were where I was and I want to help them because I know I've been where they are.
Yep.
And then let's talk about the ascension. Now you were at the academy doing this for 4 years, and then you decided you were going to go off on your own.
Yes.
And so just looking at this, let's look at the parts of this. It's what decisions did you make or conclusions did you come to as a result of this journey that you were on? And then at the end of that particular journey, where are you now on your new life path? What are you able to do now that you couldn't before? How do you feel? And what's the big moral or takeaway of all this for other people? So, you just to become, like, you went and got certified. You did a whole bunch.
Yeah. I made a decision to get a little more education on physiology and coaching. I knew I was a good writer, so I just had to. I knew I was a good writer. I just had to figure out what I wanted to write about, and it became more writing about the issues I saw with young men and women in the tactical professions, because I was also doing some local work with police officers and firefighters and things like that too, but that's just side story. So I saw it everywhere. I saw everybody was struggling with, either trying to get into a program, passing a fitness test, or prepare for more difficult challenges in their future. And that's what I kind of focused my next 20 years on.
Cool. All right. And so at the end of this, or where you are right now, at the end of this journey, where are you now on your new life path? So now I am what?
Now I am a professional writer in the tactical fitness genre, specializing in military, police, firefighter, special ops programming, but also helping those who want to do these jobs but are 100 pounds away from being able to do it. So I really enjoy, helping people. It's great to get a guy to do over 20 pull-ups. That's easy. But, helping a guy lose 100 pounds so he can now join the military is even more rewarding. So. And so I create those programs for people.
Okay. What are you able to do now that you couldn't do before? Like when you were at the Naval Academy, helping those kids in that first 4 years that you were the coach there.
Yeah, well, I still coach there, at the academy. But let me see what I do now.
It's about growth. It's really about, compare you now to you then.
Yeah. Well, I have a wealth of experience, training thousands of people, and I've just about seen every issue that people. It is rare now that I have a new issue that people are struggling with. Might happen once every couple of years now.
Okay. And how do you feel as a result of completing this particular journey?
Quite, what's a good word for it? I guess content. I feel like I found my place in life, and I really enjoy
your true calling.
Yeah, true calling. I enjoy helping these young men and women with whatever goal they have, and old men and women too. So it doesn't have to be young.
Well, and you actually have I'm going to write something in for you. I've discovered a whole new world of athletes over 40 who need help too.
Yes.
I mean,
because I've been doing this a while. That all my 20-year-olds when I started are now 40.
Right.
And so it's we've had to evolve and I think that's the coolest thing about the journey is that I am always evolving, and always constantly learning.
Do you think that might be the big moral or takeaway for this for people?
Yeah, I think so. I think one, you can't give up, right? When things are really looking at their worst for you, if you really want to do this, you really kind of need to find why you want to do this and refocus and get energized to finish. But also, yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, the big moral is you have to grow and evolve, and don't let the grass grow under your feet, type of thing. Just keep moving. And that not only means like with education, but with technological changes, you really have to stay on top of them, especially when you're transitioning this into a business, because getting everything to be able to communicate like we're doing right now with the podcast and sharing your screen,
Right.
15 years ago, we would have never been able to do that.
No, you would have had to come to my house and we would have had to sit next to each other and record it and do all that stuff.
And then download it on a computer and edit it. And
Okay. So I saved it, and this is your outline. I don't have the other thing yet, but if we were to grab this as text and you were to tell the story, let me tell you a quick story. I was a high school kid. I was a hard worker. I was a student athlete. But basically all I did was I went to school and I played sports, and I was from a very small town in Florida. And then something happened that changed my life forever. I was actually recruited for Army and Navy, both for football. And then, it's funny, you see stuff happens, and the movie Top Gun came out, and then all of a sudden my goal was to be a fighter pilot just like Maverick. And I combined with the fact that I just did not want my parents to have to pay for college. And so I ended up doing what I needed to do to get into the Naval Academy. At the time, I had no idea the impact this would have. But the problem was, I thought I was in good shape until I actually showed up at the Naval Academy and I failed my first fitness test, which was very embarrassing in front of all these people, especially since I had been recruited to be an athlete. I kind of figured I was a stud and I got a comeuppance. And then just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, on top of failing the fitness test, I was also failing chemistry. I was 18. I was homesick. And my girlfriend had dumped me, and I was really, really, okay, there's a thing I got to fix here because it didn't have this happened because, so I got to fix something that's a mechanical thing.
Printed something twice.
It did it twice.
Yeah.
So, what you said up here, I'll just fill it in. This happened because I wasn't prepared physically. I wasn't prepared academically. And I realized I had done everything I needed to do to actually get into the academy, but I had no clue how to get through the academy, which is a theme from by the way, from one of my podcasts now. We do 2 through and after. Yeah. So that was when I learned a hard lesson. And at that point, I felt very humbled. I was scared I was actually going to get kicked out. I felt like I didn't belong, and all those insecurities that come along with feeling like you're failing at everything. And that's really when I hit rock bottom. I had failing grades. I had failing physical scores. I got in trouble actually for underage drinking. I had extra duty where I lost all my liberty time, and I had to spend that time off actually marching around in a big circle or shoveling snow. And I knew something had to change, but I had no clue how or what to do. And then something actually happened that would change everything. I learned how to take fitness tests. I learned how to train the right way. And I decided that I actually did need some sort of fitness outlet and some stress release that helped me do better, because I actually, even though I got recruited for the football team, see, I know your story. I got recruited for the football team, but they got a new coach and there wasn't a spot for me because I So I actually started playing rugby. And I also learned how to study at the college level. And then I came home for Thanksgiving. I was really in a crushed state of mind. And I told my mom, this is not what I expected to tell people how I was doing. And I cried to my mom about how awful it was and how much I missed them. And my mom told me, well, why don't you just come home? And I said, I can't quit. And my mom said, then quit crying. And when your mom says quit crying, it's like, ooh, okay. And so from then on, I was focused and driven, but I also knew that I was finally on the right path, and I knew I was finally on the right path. So here's what happened next. I didn't actually fail anything. I got down to work. I maxed the next PT test. I finished the semester strong. I mean, I didn't have A's, but I didn't fail anything.
Yeah.
And actually ended up finishing up as the #1 plebe in my year, militarily and physically. Though I still was struggling academically, I had it all under control now. I knew what I needed to do to play to my strengths and minimize my weaknesses. And one day I looked up and I realized, I fast forward to 4 years, and I graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy. I actually graduated from BUDS. I spent 4 years in SDV, and then I had the opportunity to return to the academy as an instructor. And I could see then, that I actually didn't miss what I would do would be to convert that into past tense.
Yeah.
I could see then that I didn't actually miss the SEAL teams. I loved the brotherhood, but I found I enjoyed coaching even more. And I enjoyed helping both ends of the spectrum. I loved helping the beginners who couldn't pass PT tests, and I loved helping the ones who wanted to go to BUDS and beyond. And so now I feel, I really felt and saw myself as the coach for all parts of the spectrum. I saw myself in those kids, and I wanted to help them because I'd been where they were, and I knew I could help them. And that's why I knew I couldn't stop there. I realized that I decided that I needed to get more education on physiology and coaching. I knew I was a good writer. I just needed to know what to write about. So I started writing about issues I saw people struggling with to get into programs, to pass physical fitness tests, and to prepare for difficult challenges. So that's where I focused the next 20 years of my life, in those areas. And as a professional writer in the tactical fitness genre, specializing in special ops, fighter, and police, and others who want to do that job, I help people who are far from being able to do it, like the kids that are 100 pounds overweight that want to go into the Army. I get my most pleasure actually from helping those who need to go the farthest, and I create programs for those people. And so now, I'm able to do some pretty incredible things. I still coach at the U.S. Naval Academy. I have a wealth of, and I would talk, again, depending on how long or short you want this, but I still coach there. I train all the high school kids coming in. I train the ones that want to go to BUDS. I have a wealth of experience, and from training thousands of people, and it's rare that someone has an issue that I've not seen and I don't know the answer to. So now, as far as how does this make me feel, I'm content. I really feel like I found my place in life, my true calling. I enjoy helping these young men and women with whatever goal they have, and I've discovered a whole new world of athletes over 40 who need help too. All my 20-year-olds that when I started out, who are now over 40. And so what I'd like you to take away from all of this is never give up when things are looking at their worst. If you really want to do anything, find the why so you can refocus and energize to finish. You have to grow and evolve constantly. Never let the grass grow under your feet. Keep moving. And this applies to all areas of life and business. So, I mean, I got a couple of tweaks I got to do in here, but that I see. But that's, I mean, how do you feel about your story told that way?
No, I like that. It's much more organized than me telling it myself.
Right.
Like you found out a couple of other things because, I was able to kind of think about all these things in sections versus think about it all at once and try to get it all out.
Sure.
You break it down for me, and it made it a lot easier to get it out in those little sections like that, which produced a better story at the end.
Right. Yeah, and it's a cool story. I mean, it's a real cool story. It's the hero's journey to heroes of tomorrow.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, I got to do that one.
So, could you ever see yourself using that somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm probably going to do like a YouTube live or something like that, and just say, people have been asking, like, who are you? Like,
Right.
Tell us about your story.
Right.
So just spit
That's
it
cool.
out. Do that. I think that'd
But
be
when I did underage drinking, it was cool and mostly legal. It's not legal and cool now, kids.
right.
You missed the cutoff up around DC by
I did. Yeah, I missed it. I
like
missed
a
it by
year.
like maybe even less than that, like 9 months.
Yeah, I made it by like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And so we used to go over to Georgetown and drink legally. So there you go.
Hmm.
Cool, man. Well, this took a little longer than I thought, but it was fun, and I appreciate you sharing your story with everybody.
That was really cool. I like the new thing. And when is this going to be available for everybody? And
it will be in the Jim Edwards Method Premium by Wednesday. So,
all right. So where do they go to get this?
You go to the JimEdwardsMethod.com, and actually, the Jim Edwards Method Premium is not open right now to join. So remember, you can have access to this. And
well, you know what? If you really want to join, email Jim.
Send us a message in the help desk.
Send us some messages. If we get enough takers, we'll open it up. How's
there you
that?
go. That'll work. Yeah, we'll see. All right, cool. Great job, Stu. That was a lot of fun. And you guys, if you're not members of the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks group on Facebook, you need to be, because it's amazing. It's awesome. You'll learn all kinds of cool stuff. And if you're not a member, well, then you pretty much. No, I'm just playing. You should join. It's fun. We got a few thousand people in there, and everybody really does. They're very helpful, and you can get help with your sales copy. So I'm Jim Edwards.
Stu Smith.
We'll see you guys next time on the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.